gentlemen, welcome back to the Rock Show with Connor Farrell. We're blowing up bands, and bringing rock to fans. Today, our guest is Akloh for fans of Green Day and Foo Fighters. You may enjoy this. Cue intro. Okay, now that we're back from the intro, we've got some rapid fire questions for you. Okay, so what's one of the first bands you remember getting into, Akloh?
Early on, in terms of rock bands, it would have been like Switchfoot was the first rock band that I got into. My cousin showed me them. I remember the day. I remember where I was. I remember everything. When I heard it was Meant to Live, that was like the first song of theirs that I heard. It blew my brain away.
What do you
And apart from
recommend?
that,
What do you recommend?
from
Yeah,
them,
for someone who doesn't know Switchfoot.
I mean that album, The Beautiful Letdown, is like their classic. So I mean, not a bad place to start. But I believe it was the subsequent album. Oh Lord, I think it's called Easier Than Love. I could be wrong on that. But it's got a tree on the cover. I know that. That was probably the one that I honestly listened to more and got a lot of inspiration from that one. But either of those two are phenomenal. And other than them, the Jonas Brothers were actually one of the other ones that got me into rock music because they were a rock band back then, or
Yeah,
pop punk, some might say.
we'll get into that. We'll get into
We can
that.
dissect that.
Okay.
That.
So let's go next. Rapid fire question is what's a band that it could be an old band or a new band, but for you, you're just getting into them right now. What's one band?
Ooh. There's actually a cool one. I'm gonna pull their name up on my phone so I don't butcher it. There's a cool one that I literally just found the other day. I guess they came to Buffalo and were on a show, and I saw a video of it. It's an Italian band called, might be saying this wrong, Giuda, Giuda. Just a very like classic rock and roll kind of sound. Like if you didn't know what time period they were from, like they could be straight out of the 60s or 70s. And I naturally latched onto that song. Haven't really dug into them yet, but I found a couple like 3 to 5 songs already that I just like adore. They're sick.
Can you pronounce any of the names?
Of the songs? Oh yeah, the songs are normal. Like number 10 is the one that I heard first.
Number
Uh,
10.
yeah, number spelled out and then 10 the number.
There,
Back Home is another one. Louder Than Action is another one. So yeah, I have not gotten dug super deep in yet, but yeah, what I've heard, really, really cool.
Sweet. You know what? I realized I'm going a little quick on this, but I actually don't have another interview after this, so we can, or I don't have, like one back to back.
Yeah,
So
yeah.
I'm like, okay, we don't need to go as quick because I have a lot more that actually I'm curious, like if you do want to talk about that for a while. Let's see. Okay, so let me start with, what's your background? Or you're on it. You're on it. You're a fitness coach. I think we could probably relate on a lot of things. We probably have a similar, I'm not saying we're the same person, but
yeah.
We're more similar than I am with a lot of people. I'm going to wager that off the bat. So I'm going to say, what's your main goal with music? Because I read your bio on Spotify and it was saying that you're doing it full time right now. What's the goal? Is it monetary? For me, it's 6 figures. When the podcast does 6 figures, I drop everything and I reinvest that money into Instagram ads to grow the podcast.
Hell yeah. Yep. I mean, in all reality, yes, I would like to financially live like solely off music. That'd be amazing. That'd probably make me the happiest version of myself in terms of being able to just like know that the art that I'm creating is being received well enough to like financially support myself. That'd be awesome. But it really is just to take this as far as I possibly can. We'll probably dive into, more of my story and everything, but just relative to this question, it was a big leap for me to start this Akloh chapter. There's a lot of movement in my life that resulted in me being here. And the mindset was, I'm going to put absolutely everything I possibly can into this. And that goes to both the music I'm making, the content I'm producing, but also to like going to shows more and being present in the music scene more and like hold a whole number of facets, but do everything I possibly could to take this as far as possible. Because at the end of the day, if I get 5 years from now and the whole thing hasn't really gone anywhere, I want to be able to look back and say, I ran every play I possibly could. And now I know, like I know for a fact I gave it 100% and it just didn't happen. Or 5 years from now, I could look back and have things rolling incredibly and look back and say, I'm really glad that I took that leap and put everything in that I could. So financially, yes, there's a goal there. There's a goal artistically as well. But overall, it's just to really dedicate myself to this and see what I can make happen.
Yeah. Okay, so that's okay. So what's your strategy right now?
So it's an evolving strategy that kind of changes as I learn things, but also as just different phases of this whole project come into play. Initially, without diving too much into the backstory, initially when I quit my full-time job, I was like a regional manager and I was making just under 6 figures. So it was a successful 5-year career. Quit that job at the end of last year to start this. And initially, obviously, I didn't have any shows to play. I didn't have any music to put out. I had nothing. I had cold turkey, just stopped one thing, started another. So at that point, the plan and the strategy was to spend as much time as I possibly could doing things related to music, whether that was actually writing, whether that was actually recording, or it was watching YouTube videos about how the industry works now, or it was reaching out to every venue in my area, even visiting the venues and trying to talk to people and see what I could get into. So there was a phase of, I'm not really doing music yet, but I'm doing all of the preliminary things that I need to do to start doing music. That probably lasted a couple months. And then it went into the phase that was heavy on live performance. And that's still kind of part of this current phase, but I didn't have music to put out yet, but I could book shows because I was starting to get out there. People were seeing me. They wanted to book me. So I was playing as many shows as I possibly could. I'm still playing a lot of shows that probably will taper down somewhat. Number one, as we go into winter here in Buffalo, because a lot of the scene just kind of slows down in the colder months. But also as like the music itself gains more traction, I don't need to be playing as much. You kind of want to make each show more special as opposed to be playing everywhere and you're always around. But right now, still playing a lot of shows. And the current phase now, though, is really emphasizing this recorded music that I've spent the past 6 months working on and putting together and putting all my time into. So it went from a prep phase to a performance phase to now like a product phase, I guess you could call it.
Mm-hmm. Prep, perform, product. Okay.
PPP, baby.
So when you're thinking about, let's talk brand. When you're thinking product, are you thinking about themes? Are you thinking about packaging? Are you thinking iconography? What thing is the most important thing that you kind of work backwards from to judge the rest of it?
I would say that I think it all, fortunately and unfortunately, like comes back to image. I say fortunately because I think that just like I'm a recognizable person. I have a unique look. And I'm not saying that in a good or bad way. I'm a bald 27-year-old kid with a nose piercing and glasses, and like it's just not a look you see. So I have an image, and image then comes into everything, like having a logo that looks nice and having a theme to your social media and stuff like that. Like image is everywhere, but generally speaking, what I consider the most important aspect of like product right now to be is every song that's coming out, like the next one's coming out, and just obviously I had my debut drop and you've seen a lot of the content coming out for that. The next one is on September 6th, Friday, September 6th, so like 2 weeks from today. Yeah. And for each release, the goal is to like take the song as the product. Like that, at the end of the day, that's what I want to be the product. I don't want my social media videos to be the product. I want the song to be the thing. And then I take that and I say like, what imagery or what kind of coloring, what kind of physical aspects make sense along with the sound of the song and what the song's talking about. And then I just try to craft these promo videos essentially, which is a lot of the other part of my product. Like there's the music and then there's the promotion right now. That kind of like they don't feel disconnected from the song. They match the song. So for this first one, they're very like rock and rolly kind of. They're not deep songs. I don't claim them to be deep songs. They're really fun. They're just fun songs. Like to me, that's what they are. They're not like, oh, I'm digging into my soul. It's like I put this on and I want to like shake my hips a little bit. Like that.
Yep.
That's all these songs were meant to be. And so the videos are just like you got some. They're pretty simple, but like you got some smoke floating around. You got the big amp in the background. You got the
Yeah.
guitar. You got the sunglasses on. Like just like a rocky kind of fun vibe, and matching that. And then for the next song, it'll be different stuff too.
Where are the OnlyFans girls in the background dancing?
I know.
That's the only thing
I
missing.
know. I know.
There we go. No,
Next
we can
time.
set that up
Next
though.
time.
We can, yeah. So we'll have the fortune and fame, and they'll be crawling.
Perfect.
Uh,
Perfect. That's
let's
all we
see. So
need.
which one was it? Is it Oh my God, I'm blanking on the name of
Oh,
third
it's okay.
song on the. What's the third
Fake
song?
bitch.
Yeah, fake bitch. Yes,
Yeah.
there we go. Yeah, yeah. I'm like that one should have.
Yeah.
You could
Those
because
times.
that's
Yeah, yeah, yeah.
yeah. You should. Yeah, we got to figure out some way to get some like TikTok like chicks because that's
It'd
kind
be
of like
next
almost a
level.
joke in like some of
Right.
like the music marketing stuff. You'll see is it like what do they say? Like, oh my, I'm blanking on the term, but like they'll be, it's almost a joke term, like whatever, like thought metal. Yeah. Like Sleep
Oh,
Token or
yeah,
some of
yeah,
these bands, you just get like hot girls making thirst traps to the music and
yeah.
then it goes viral and now you blow up as a band.
Yep. Yep.
So I feel like you
I
could
don't
do
know how
that.
many, I mean, hey, if that ever was to start happening,
Yeah.
I ain't gonna say no. But I don't know how many, TikTok girls there are in Buffalo. Maybe I'm wrong. Maybe I just haven't
No,
tapped in because
they're
I
in there.
also I also
They're there.
hate TikTok, so I like don't spend any time scrolling and
Yeah.
seeing what's actually. It's that prior to doing Akloh, I didn't have TikTok. I avoided it at all
Yeah.
costs because I didn't want to go down that rabbit hole. And now it's a necessary evil, but I
So I
digress.
post. I'll tell you personally. I every time I go on, I don't. There's no rabbit hole to get sucked into. It's just none of the stuff. Like maybe the algorithm didn't figure me out yet, but I
That's
just
good.
go on
That's
and I
how I
post.
feel too.
I post though, and I post different stuff than I post on Instagram. On Instagram, I like doing podcast
Yeah.
clips. I like doing stuff like that. And yeah, so okay, so here I want to. So you were saying and so I like this because you said basically the song dictates how you package it and how you do the performance and all these sorts of things. Kind of the elements of brand are downstream from the theme and style of the song. So there's two elements there.
Yeah.
There's the kind of the themes of the song, the lyrics, right? And then there's the style, right? So
Hmm.
I want to kind of dig into the influences in both areas. So let's start with the style. What kind of bands are you listening to? I heard maybe a little bit of Leonard Skinner when you were soloing. Like I heard some
Yeah.
like kind of like more like country blues rock. Like what are you listening
Yeah.
to?
I mean, I think my music taste is a little strange in the sense that, um, it hasn't changed much over time, which a lot of people's music tastes really evolve, and I just have never
Yeah,
found that mine did. And maybe I'm just not listening to enough, but um,
you don't need to. It's
it
overrated.
stayed yeah,
Say
it
the
stayed
same
pretty
thing.
consistent. Right, right.
Yeah.
Stayed pretty consistent over time, and it new bands do enter the rotation, but it kind of takes a lot, it seems like, for my brain to latch onto it. But so I have like I was raised on classic rock. Like when I think of my mom and my dad, like my dad was putting classic rock into my ears 24/7. Anytime we were in the car, anytime he's working outside or whatever, like there was classic rock on. I may not know the name of every band and every song,
Yeah.
but I could probably like hum along to 99% of the classic rock
Yeah.
songs out there just because I've heard them and they're in my head. Um, my mom, on the other hand, she had a really unique taste in music, and I've grown to appreciate it a lot because I realized that it's not necessarily stuff that I would have heard otherwise, or at least dug into as much. She was very like '90s pop rock. So you have like, for example, like she really liked Matchbox 20. Um,
Mhm.
and Matchbox 20 is a great band. I would have heard them eventually anyway, but she got really into the singer Rob Thomas's solo stuff. And I
Mhm.
don't think a lot of other people did that. And he had a lot of really strange, unique songs that are, but also super cool. So she had ones like that. She was a big Jason Mraz fan, so like the acoustic kind of pop stuff. Justin Izuka is one that's still big for me that she kind of helped. We kind of got into him together actually when I was young. But just two different things: classic rock from my dad and this '90s pop rock kind of stuff from my mom. Um, and then I found kind of the heavier rock and roll, like I said, Switchfoot through my cousin. I discovered Green Day with American Idiot in 2004, 2005. That changed my life. The Foo Fighters discovered them, like all those kind of bigger anthem. I call them like anthem or like stadium
Yeah.
rock or arena rock, whatever you want
Yeah.
to call it, where I don't know what necessarily, it's hard to pinpoint what exactly characterizes that sound, but you put those bands together and there's something about them that just feels so big and so huge. And I got drawn to that. So all those bands are really still in my rotation now, but then you have other ones. I've branched out decently into like R&B. So like Daniel Caesar, is one that I really like. Um, I've branched out obviously more into like the pop punk stuff, as well. And then bands like 21 Pilots, Post Malone, like pop acts. Cause to me, it always, I've noticed it comes back to the songwriting.
Yeah.
And I think that's what's always drawn me into things. It's not like, oh, you're the best musicians or, oh, you're playing the flashiest licks and riffs. But like, if the structure of a song is good and that to me is like what grabs you. And like 21 Pilots and like Post Malone, they know how to write a song. You know what I mean? So it's diverse. But it's also stayed pretty consistent, from when I was young, and just ones have been added along the way.
Yeah. So is the song good? That
Yeah, that's always
I
the question,
come.
right?
Yep. And so I'll tell you, I'm working on rewriting stuff and making new music, yada yada yada. But
Hell yeah.
the thing I kind of come to is like I want to start with a lyric. You know what I mean? Or like a melody, like a sing along chorus. Like
Hmm.
that's what I start with because I can write infinite songs. Why not start with the ones that I know actually have the potential to be 10 out of 10, like big anthems, big hits, big things that people connect with, even if it's not the poppiest, like
Right.
always thing, or it doesn't feel like, or maybe it's a little more sincere than
Right.
rock out loud. Doesn't matter. But I've
Yeah.
realized now I'm like start with that because I can always, I can always either heavy or like rock it up in some way. I can always
Yeah.
add stuff to it.
Absolutely.
So
Absolutely.
okay. So you have saxophone on what
Yeah.
was the song? What was the song? It's let's
Little
see,
Mama.
Little Mama, yes.
Yeah.
Okay. Where did you why did you want to put saxophone on it?
Um, so Little Mama is actually like, in these first songs from this project are all ones that I've written well previously. I don't know if that's the right way to say that, but
Yeah.
long before. And, um, even many of them have been released under like my name previously when I didn't have any attention. I didn't have really any audience. But they were out there. Little Mama is actually the oldest of this batch of songs that are kind of from past years. I wrote this song probably close to 10 years ago, and I played it, with my band at the time, like my high school into early college band. It was always one of our most popular ones. And then we stopped playing together 2 years or so into college. But everybody loved this song, so we actually re-recorded it because the original recording was just trash. But we re-recorded it better, and probably put that out, I don't know, maybe 5 years ago. But again, there's like no audience for it apart from like the few of our close friends who knew it and liked it
Yeah.
and wanted to listen to it. Um, and it's always been, so coming back to the now, it's always been a song that people have liked. It's a song that makes me want to move, which is again like I feel like so many artists and bands now think that you have to be deep with every song to get people to connect to it. But a large part of me misses the time when people acknowledge that a fun song will get people to connect with it too. Like it doesn't have to be deep. It can just be fun and like evoke that feeling. And so I wanted to bring Little Mama into this new chapter because I felt like it was one of those songs. And it's always rocked, like I said. But I'm always looking for ways to make things rock harder, like you said. And working with RJ DeMarco, who is a close friend of mine. I've played with him. He's played in other bands that I've played with on shows. We haven't played in a band together, but our bands have played together. on shows. He was in a band called Rescue Dawn a long time ago. Now he's in an incredible band called Fernway. One of my, probably my favorite from Buffalo, top 5, top 3, whatever. But he plays saxophone, and there's a song by a Green Day side project called Little Pieces of Truth. It's the side project is called Foxborough Hot Tubs. They put out one album, and
Yeah.
it's a ripper kind of old school sounding rock album. And there's a song called Pieces of Truth that has sax on it. It's not the first rock song to have sax on it, but obviously with it being Green Day, I listened to it
Yeah.
a lot. And when we were doing this restructure of Little Mama, and I don't know, I just kind of got thinking about that song, and I was like, damn, that song's really, really goes hard with that sax solo. And so I was like, RJ, like, how down are you to put sax on this song? And he was like, yeah, let's do it. And I think I put it in the post I made the other day. He laid that down in like 10 minutes because he's a ridiculous musician. But yeah, it was just I heard it work in another song. I like sax. My mom likes saxophone, and anything to make mom happy is a good thing. So we went for it and put it in, and it's like one of my favorite things. I love it so much.
Man, that's great. Okay. So that's how you got the sax in that song. And
Yep.
then I had a couple other notes. Oh, the key change in the second, or is it the chorus at the end of I Want You, right?
Yeah,
Like
yeah,
the
yeah. Yep.
third or fourth chorus, I don't remember, but like
Yeah.
I wasn't counting that hard. But
I
no, I
know.
remember when I heard the key change. Well,
Hell yeah.
I like this guy.
Hell yeah.
I was like, I like this guy.
Yeah,
I knew I
I
liked this
feel like,
guy.
yeah,
I knew
but
I
now I
liked
really
him.
like him. Now I really like him. Yeah,
I was quiet.
it's like key changes are tough to work into songs, and
Yeah.
I, I, I don't think that song I wrote, um, it was probably about 5 years ago, I would say. And that stayed pretty consistent from the original version. There's really not much different other than better recording and better just all
Yeah.
around sound. And I think my vocals are performed better on this too. But
Yeah.
it's hard to work a key change into a song. So if you can, it's something that automatically kind of grabs people's ears,
Yeah.
especially like music minded people's ears, because
Yep.
music people know that it's not an easy thing to make sound natural. But I think it gets murky when you try to work key changes into songs,
Yeah.
because I've definitely heard some in some songs where I'm like, that felt like forced. Like it didn't
Yeah.
feel like it needed to happen. It just felt like they were like, oh, I want to do a key change. Let's do it.
Yeah.
And this one, I think it just got to the end of the song. It doesn't have a vocal bridge. It has like the instrumental bridge on that one. It doesn't have a guitar solo. So and I was kind of getting to the end of writing it, and I was like, well, okay, we come out of the bridge, which is different, but again, there's no vocals in it. There's no real solo. So like we have this last chorus. I don't want to just repeat the last chorus because the song is already missing some elements that kind of make a song
Yeah.
better if done well. And so I was like, well, we have that dun 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 dun, dun, which normally is a half step. It's C, what is it? C sharp, D. But I was like, what if we just did whole step C, D, E, and that would lead us into a key change, and it worked.
Yeah.
And so I stuck with it. But yeah, it wasn't a goal choice, but I love it. And there's one other song that's going to be coming out. I think it's my most popular song from what I've released previously. Like there's people who really connected with it. It has a key change in it. And that one, I say RJ and I, but really what RJ was able to do with making that key change like hit, oof, it's like chef's kiss. I'm like so stoked about that one for that one to come out.
Man, okay, so I want to ask about RJ, but I want to start with what are you excited about? Like, what's the thing you're most looking forward to with what you're doing? How are you thinking about, it going forward? What are you excited about? If it's a release, if it's, something you're writing?
I honestly, the excitement for me is like not, yeah, it's related to the music and not like I'm excited for people to finally hear it. It's been a long time I'm terrible at keeping things like
Yeah.
private, and like it's been hard. So I'm excited that it's finally coming out. Um, but I think the main source of excitement for me right now is knowing that no matter what, no matter whether this music thing takes off or it doesn't take off, I've made a major change in the past, like I said, past year that has helped me set the wheels in motion to create a life that is more fulfilling to me in all aspects.
Yeah.
And the main piece of that is having music be the main focus
Yep.
of what I'm doing. And I've found that it's possible to, like, even if I don't blow up, it's possible for me to focus on music and have, a side gig that between the two allows me to live comfortably, but do all the things that I love. And even like another piece of that, like I've always wanted a dog, and I started to foster dogs. I was going to foster dogs, plural, but I got my first foster, and she's right. She's right there. She's a beautiful baby, but her name's Cora. But I foster failed, and she is now my dog. I adopted her, and like that, I wouldn't have been able to do that had I not quit my other job, because my other job had me out of the house 8 to 12 hours. Not that's at 12 on some days, but 8 to 12 hours a day. Like, it wouldn't have been possible. So all the changes I made in the past year, regardless of whether or not music takes off, have like given me the reassurance that I can do these things and work all the things I love into my life and be comfortable and not be like scrounging for money to live and pay rent and stuff. Like, it's possible. And that's the most exciting to me.
Yeah. Yeah. So I guess what do you see as turning the lever? Right? And I'll break this down. This is kind of the way I think in my brain. A little peek back inside the kooky little line of me, inside my mind. You're in my brain, man. What's up? Come on, man. You're in my brain.
I'm
Now,
ready. I'm ready.
in my brain, screw. I did the wrong way.
We're in there.
Wait.
I got my binoculars on and all that good stuff. Got my headlamp on.
It's alive. Okay, there we go. So inside my head, So for me, I go, what is the thing that's the like is the most? I kind of thought, I'm like, if I see things like almost as a video game, like a skill tree in my music career, I'm like, what is my skill path that I want to like upgrade first, right? So there's like gigging all the time, right? There's like recording music. There's doing press for the music that isn't gigs, right? Then there's
Right.
like, I guess, networking with other people, which can like, you can do with those things, but really you can also just say, I'm going to go out and like meet people at coffee shops. You know what I mean?
Right.
And
Yeah.
like just make friends with people. And then for me, I was like, I should do the podcast because this is
Yeah.
And I was like, I can make the podcast make full-time money quicker than the other stuff. And my biggest limiting factor with the other stuff is I tried writing and recording stuff myself, and I'm like, it doesn't sound professional enough to me. And meanwhile, the RJ guy, see, that's the thing, is like I'm seeing confirmation the more bands I interview and the more artists I interview that I made the right call, because I'm like, me sitting here and trying to do it myself, no good idea. And so it's kind of like, what skill do you actually like? What skill trees are actually like available to you and that are actually seem like a good path? And so you've got RJ, and so your stuff sounds awesome. And then your visuals, those are also awesome. And like your whole, that is the right thing. And I know other bands, I just interviewed these guys, the Jaspers, who are in New Jersey, and another band in New Jersey called Smother Nature. You'll check them out. They're good.
Yeah, no, I mean, I have to now.
What I was gonna say, what's funny is they're wicked good, all of them. Like the bassist is insane, the guitarist is insane, and he's a really good singer too and lyricist. So I was like,
hell yeah,
it makes sense that they're like, no, we're gonna triple down on gigging until we do that full time. And so it's like, for me, as much as I wanted the gig one, not in the cards for me. I was the only person, and I'm like struggling to find people more talented than me. Not because I'm that talented.
Right. Yeah.
I am talented. I'm really good at guitar, but I'm not good at bass, and I need to find someone better than me at bass. Actually, that was not hard. My brother's good, but he's like, if the rest of the band isn't there, it's like, what am I going to do with just my brother? We can't play a gig without a drummer and the thing. And so all this is to say is, what do you see as like that main lever that you push this button for music career growth? Like, what's like, if you had to like take away, get rid of like what's the most fun to do? What's the thing that, like, is going to lead to like career growth? Because for me, I'm kind of like, spam that button, spam the lateral raises, and until I have that juicy side down. Do my lat spread, do some lat pull downs. As much as people want to do pull-ups, I have very big lats, and I'm not the best at pull-ups because I have like weird like imbalances in my right side of my grip, but I have big lats. And maybe it's genetic, but I did a lot of lap pull downs. And I would just
Yeah,
boom,
yeah.
boom, drop set, drop set, drop set. I do different stuff now, lengthen partials, controlled
There you
eccentric.
go.
A little bit of different technique now. But guys, this is very important for you to hear. No, but so likewise, like, is there a button you see? Because for me, I'm like, spam this button, because by the time that I'm making a full-time income doing the podcast, I have all the connections and the people I want to collab with and work with, whether it's
Right.
producers, whether it's people who do music videos, whether it's like people like Akloh, who are really good singers, who potentially better singers than me. Like, Akloh, do you want to sing the bridge on this song? Because like there's like System of the Down song, or what is it? No, it's Rage Against the Machine. Take the Power Back. The bridge is Maynard from Tool singing,
Oh, yeah, yeah,
and
yeah.
then there's I'm blanking on one. Oh, like I love Queens of the Stone Age, and they've got Julian
Hmm.
Casablanca from the Strokes sings like the choruses on the song "Sick, Sick, Sick" in the background. But there's all sorts of these
Yeah.
collabs, and I go like, that's the coolest part of all music ever. Why wouldn't you
Right.
have more people do that? Backup
Yeah.
vocals are like filler anyways. Backup
That's
vocals
a
are filler
fact.
anyways. Have the cool people. Oh, we have Slash doing the guitar solo. Yes, of course I want to hear that. I want to hear that more.
Right.
Your guitarist does a solo on every other song. I can rip. And I'm
Yep.
certain my fans want to see that. Great. That's what
Right.
every other song is for. Sorry, I swore. But that's what
That's okay.
every other song is for. I want to see
Yep.
Aklo shred. That's the cool thing. It's like Timmy Turner. I watched Jimmy Neutron and Fairly Odd Parents, and when they did the collab, I was
Oh,
like,
yeah, yeah. Yeah.
holy shoot. And
I
for me,
forgot
I was
about
like,
that.
the button I can spam is build up this thing, and at the
Right.
end, all the other skills take way less points to unlock. And now they're actually
Right.
unlocked for me. I can go
Right.
through it. In a video game, you're trying to get through a door that you can see at the beginning, but it's like, no, you have to go all the way around the map, like
Yep.
Pokemon. If you ever played
Yep.
Pokemon, there you go.
Yeah,
See,
I actually I was never a Pokemon kid.
you what?
I missed that. I
It's okay.
missed that,
It's
man.
okay.
I wasn't allowed to play violent games, and Pokemon was
Oh,
violent.
well, it's nice. You seem very like peaceful and like
Yeah,
happy. And
it
I'm
worked.
very fiery. I'm like like a woodchuck.
I'm repressing a lot. Don't worry, I'm just repressing.
Yeah, hey, at least you can do that. That's good.
Oh, I love it.
You got a problem? We'll solve it.
Yeah.
Check out the book where the DJ revolves it. Ice Ice Baby. Vanilla Ice played a taco fest last weekend.
Did he really?
Yes, it was
Where
I think
at?
$50. I'm in San Diego, so it's $50 to get in.
Wow.
And that's not including the tacos. I didn't go because $50 to get in, not including any tacos.
So if you're in San Diego, you're actually close to RJ, by the way. He's in Monterey.
RJ. So wait, did you collab in person with this RJ? How did you do it? Do I need to give
No,
RJ money, or does he want internet clout? Because I can get him on here, and this will be big in a year.
I guarantee you he would do this because I was listening to a podcast that he did earlier today. I guarantee he would, whether it was for him, his production stuff or his band stuff. But no, he moved out there I think a year ago, roughly, and he's from Buffalo, obviously.
Wild Wings.
But we did. I'm gonna just for ease say 75% of this. So I put out 3 songs, but there's 9 songs that we've been working on together as part of this first batch. So we did 75% of that remotely. So me on my computer here, like in this exact spot, actually, him in Monterey. There's some plugins now that exist that allow you to losslessly record your audio from one DAW, send it across the country, and then it lands in his, and he has all the tracks and everything. So we did guitars and bass, some auxiliary vocals, a little bit of acoustic stuff that way. But I did spend a week out there in March or April, doing vocals and the bulk of the acoustic stuff, and then just hanging with him and, experiencing some of the inspirational aspects of California out there. It's gorgeous. So, gave me a good reason to go out there, and I plan to keep working with the dude. So, that'll give me more excuses to go out there. So, yeah, we did set probably about 3/4 of everything remotely, which was a cool experience. Definitely like not necessarily. It's a benefit in that we were able to do it. It's not ideal for recording. I think it's better to be together in a space. But we already had a lot of rapport, obviously, because we've known each other for however many years now. But yeah, it's cool to see that technologies to a point where you can be, I think it's 3,000 miles away or 2,800 miles away or something, and make music that sounds that good. Like that's kind of crazy.
Yeah.
We weren't in a studio. We don't have these crazy good rooms. We're just
Yeah.
doing that, and he knows how to do his stuff. So he
Yeah.
made it sound incredible.
So did you like mic up an amp? I'm so excited to drink a Celsius.
I
This
know.
is, I am so ready I'm gonna go in the hot tub. I'm gonna drink a Celsius just to sit in my parents'
That's
hot tub.
perfect.
Living
That's
with my
perfect.
parents, by the way. Shout out my parents. You the real ones for real. You real ones.
Hell
You the
yeah.
ones for that. Yeah, you
Hell yeah.
real. Bro.
That's gonna
I
be the
wanna go.
favorite clip.
I want to detour so bad. Wait. I got this. Okay, I'm gonna write this down. Because I didn't want to interrupt you earlier, so I wrote something
That's okay.
down. And once again, I have another topic, so I'm gonna write this down. Okay, I've got 3 things circled. They're boxed,
Amazing.
actually. They're boxed. Jeff Bloom. You ever Jeff That's a dream. Get Jeff Goldblum on. Okay, writing that down. Dude, what if you
Put it
got
on the
the
bucket list.
Goldblum collab? Who's a dream collab? This is a sidetrack, but I love this one. Dream collab. Go.
Oh man. I mean it's gonna be Billy Joe Armstrong, Green Day. Like 100%. Easy answer. Not
Okay.
even
Are
close.
you aware of Destroy Boys?
What I do know that, but I don't know what it is or what they are.
They're a band, and they're like they Billy Joe has a coffee shop
Yeah.
in like wherever in San
Oakland, I
Fran.
think.
In
There's
Oakland, yes, in the
yeah.
land of oaks. Former home of the Raiders, notoriously great
Also
fans,
known as,
Raiders
yeah.
fans. I love the
Yeah.
Raiders. I actually don't have any horse in that race. Um, but I was gonna say, so Destroy Boys were a band, kind of like kind of independent. The type of band I would have played with, that I've probably played millions of gigs with. And so they just walked in and were handing things out for shows. Like I think like they were handing out CDs and flyers, just walking around. And they went to
Yeah.
the coffee shop, and then Billy Joe's there, and then
Oh,
so
that's
he's like,
sick.
oh, and so then he just like posted on Instagram or whatever, like did like a big shout out, and then boom, now
That's crazy.
they're one of the biggest bands. Like my dad is listening to. I don't know if you're familiar with Mindless Self Indulgence.
Yep, yep,
Very
yep, yep,
popular. So my father, whenever I get on his Spotify, unless it's Marilyn Manson, it's Mindless Self Indulgence
yep.
and Destroy Boys,
That's so
and
good.
it's hysterical. Oh my dad, I love you. Oh my dad, and I'm so happy. My dad's like low key one of my best friends because he's awesome. And
Hell
anything you
yeah.
like about me is him, and anything you don't like about me, um, doesn't exist.
Perfect. I was wondering where you're about to go with that.
I got a ring. This is the wrong finger. And maybe it's the right finger. People.
Or
Okay,
yeah, I
so
was gonna say.
detour. I was gonna say, oh, you could if you hit up Destroy Boys, we can. I'm gonna get Destroy Boys on, and then
There you
it's
go.
gonna take a lot of work since they're huge and I'm
Right.
irrelevant. JK, soon to be relevant.
There you go.
You'd be surprised how many people respond to an Instagram DM if you're like,
I've
you want to come on?
right. I believe it, dude.
And
I
I don't
believe
just
it.
mean like people like us who are like normal guys and like you are working it, but like just people who you're like, I shouldn't be able to get to you this easily.
Yeah, dude.
There should be like a walled off, like I'm a peasant throwing rocks up at the thing, but really I'm the king.
No, that's I was gonna say that's half the battle, man. If you just if what you do is like done with confidence and
Yeah,
conviction, like people buy into it. Like that's half the battle. Some people
yeah,
think it's like can be like cocky or whatever. But like I think there's a line where it can become cocky. But
nah, dude,
if you're just
no, I'm the
doing
best.
everything,
I'm the
yeah,
best
if you're
always.
just doing everything with confidence, you're golden.
Yo, okay, so you know what? Do you have to run in a couple minutes, or can we do a little bit
No,
longer?
yeah. We can go a little
Okay,
longer.
we're gonna split it into a 2-part because
Love it.
I've got some
Love it.
stuff. I'm like now I really got stuff to go.
Let's rip it.
Okay. So what did it say? So so I want to ask about. So what were you just saying as I write this next topic down? You were just saying something. Oh, confidence. Okay, so I want to ask
Yes.
you about fitness and your fitness journey. I know it's totally different topic, but you know what? Actually,
I'm always down.
give me a sec. Let's break here. Let's do one more topic, and then we'll start with fitness stuff for the
Cool.
next, like for the second part.
Yeah.
And let me ask you. Actually, here's what I'm going to finish on. So there's cabinets. So were you making a cabinet? Were you using cab sims? were you using plugins? Like, what were you doing to record stuff?
Yeah, I mean, that is apart from the drums, and then obviously
Yeah,
like the direct input from the guitar and the bass
yeah,
and everything, all like amplification and effects are fully digital. I don't, yeah, that's is if that's a 2i4, that's literally what we use,
yep,
because that's all I have. Um, I had my interface. Nothing was mic'd up. It was just DI into there. That was recording to RJ's DAW. And like I said, RJ's like brilliant in his own right, just
yeah,
musically and everything like that. But one of the things that really sets like producers and mix engineers apart in general is how well they know the full scope of what plugins and amp sims and all that are available out
yeah,
there. That's one of the things that really amazes me about RJ is like, number one, he has so many, which is crazy. He's just racked him up over the years and bought this and bought that and gotten this and gotten that. But he knows we could be putting a song together and I could be like, I think the guitar tone needs to be this, like needs to be have like some crisp high but be like chunky, like it needs to be a little heavy or something like that. And he'll be like, oh,
yeah,
that's the XYZ plugin and
yeah,
XYZ amp and this mic is like he knows where those sounds are in this massive library of
yeah,
plugins he has. So that's what allowed us, I think, to make such like a heavy hitting album that sounds like the amps are hot and it sounds like they're cranked up to 10 and it sounds like it's mic'd up perfectly. Thank you. It sounds so perfect, but it's because he just knows so well how to find those sounds and craft those sounds. But 100% digital, apart from, like I said, the direct inputs, and the drums were acoustic drums,
yeah.
played by Mr. Jeremy Shields.
Mr. Jeremy Shields. Okay, so that's the whole thing I'm saying is like learning how to play an instrument and learning how to write songs, learning how to write lyrics, and learning how to do all of these things in the promo and all this
Hmm.
stuff. Look at me. Look at me. What's the deal? You ever go to New York? You ever watch Seinfeld?
Oh, dude, so good. So
What's
good.
the deal? No, seriously. Oh, oh, I'm a
there's
bee.
so there's so many things.
You like jazz?
I
You like
love
Jerry Lewis
jazz.
from the news? I get asked. I'm like, I show up in the ascot to a random show. No one knows me. No one knows me. But random surfers come up. It's almost like I'm a puppy. I'm like, can I touch? Can I pet the ascot? And I'm like, and and at the end of the night, this one dude was like, can you do your best Patrick Bateman impression? I was like Jerry Lewis in the news.
He's
Seriously,
got it.
I was like, boom. I'm like, my man,
He's
my
got
man.
it.
Okay, so you said so. Okay, you were doing yeah. So that's what I thought. And then so that's okay, yeah. Because I've been starting to do that stuff. And so he knows all the plugins, and that's what you need. You need a wizard like that. Okay, so plugin
Yep.
wizard. I'm gonna call him. Stop. We need new names. We need new ways of saying things. I'm calling him a plugin wizard. Can we
Perfect.
call him that? Can you just
Perfect.
refer to him as plugin wizard
The
RJ?
plug-in wizard. Yes.
There we
Yes.
go. For some reason, everything is like fantasy for me. Like it's like not fantasy as in it's pretend, but always like I'm like we got kings,
Yeah.
we got wizards, we got mages. I don't even like play video games like that, but I'm like
But we got him.
that's
Yeah.
how
Yeah.
that's
I think that like with the plug-in thing in general, like and RJ
yeah
has a ton of experience doing analog stuff too, like miking your amp and or reamping
yeah
things and putting them through. Like he had a studio here in Buffalo and he had all that stuff, and so when he was recording bands here, that's what he was using.
yeah
Um, but I think that's like something that it can be such a benefit that this technology that can make things sound good is so accessible. But I think there's still a lot of like in rock bands in particular who they want to use real things because it's real. And like, sure, but I think that, and people knowing maybe they didn't know originally, but now they know that this is like a lot of digital sims and effects on these songs. Um, like if you can get a better product from something that's not necessarily analog or real, and you can get something that sounds better, don't be afraid to like lean into that, because at the end of the day, if you're trying to like do something in music and get recognized nowadays, when everybody knows that there's so much technology available, half the battle is putting something in their ear that sounds good enough for them to say, oh, this sounds like what I hear on the radio, which you'd be shocked to know a
Yep.
lot of the stuff you hear on the radio is not real instruments either. It's a lot of
Yep.
digital instruments that are just placed and recorded and mixed and mastered very well.
Yep.
So just like, I guess like a message to rock bands is like, real is great and real is cool. And I love the sound of real amps and stuff on a record, but like, it doesn't have to be that way for you to be legit. Like, make what sounds good and is most accessible to you. And I guarantee like your listeners are probably going to dig it as well.
They don't care they don't care how it's made. They care how it sounds.
Exactly.
Does it sound radio quality? I boxed that. I boxed Destroy Boys. I boxed radio quality. On that note, we're going to enter into part 2. And so, guys, we'll see you tomorrow. Okay. 3, 2, 1. Bye-bye.